Hello, everyone. A couple minutes more and then we'll start off. So, yes, um, I, Aditi Tol, wish you all a good evening and welcome you on behalf of Guru Nanak Institute of Management Studies, one of the most prestigious management institutes since 2002. I also welcome Professor Kapil Bhopatkar, Faculty in Charge Finance and Head Admissions and Marketing, also Sabah Syed from the admissions team, all the faculty members present, and last but not the least, the team from TEDx Educom. It has been a pleasure for me to serve as an academic coordinator at this institute. Now, we are well aware of the times that we are in and the times that we are venturing into. Exactly why I would like to thank you all for connecting with us through this webinar. We are proud to present to you two of our most successful management programs, postgraduate in postgraduate diploma in management, PGDM, and masters in management studies, MMS. We will now be discussing about the features and the admission procedure for the same throughout this webinar. As this is going to be an extensively interactive session, I request you all to openly discuss your queries with our team. Now today, we have with us Professor Kapil Bhopatkar, who will address and guide you throughout this session. So through some questions and answers, let's have an interactive session. Students, please feel free to interrupt and ask any question you may have in your minds. So, Kapil sir, to start with, please tell us, for a student, what is the mental process in pursuing the PGDM or MMS, that is right from the preparation to the examination?
Well, I think, first of all, yeah, good evening to everyone. Let me introduce myself. I am Professor Kapil Bhopatkar. I am the FIC Finance and the Head Admissions for all full-time courses here at Guru Nanak Institute of Management Studies. We are a part of Khalsa College, Guru Nanak Khalsa College, which is a 80-year-old institute. And GNIMS, the management wing of Khalsa, has been in existence since the past 22 years. We are basically run by SGPC, Shiromani Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee. That's our trustee, and we are the trust that run the Golden Temple. I'm just going to give you a brief background in 1 minute, and then we'll start off with the question that Aditi ma'am was asking me. So Khalsa has given us multiple athletes, about 18 Olympians, 17 to 18 Olympians, a lot of sports persons, a lot of dignitaries, people in the creative field, and people also who have done well in academics as well as corporates. GNIMS prides itself as one of the most inclusive, one of the most practical oriented, and one of the most humane management institutes with a strong sense of ethics, and we are very proud of it. Having introduced myself as well as the institute that I represent over here, I think the first question Aditi asked me, Aditi ma'am, was that what is the thought process of a student? It is very important to understand. Now, the thought process of a student usually starts with the decision of the student to pursue his master's in management program. And that decision is preceded by his decision to give the aptitude test, which is either the CET or ATMA. Now, when the preliminary investigation is done by the student, he has extremely high hopes for himself, and he has to, because when he looks at the curriculum of the CET, the aptitude test, he realizes that it is nothing but some knowledge of English, logical reasoning, verbal reasoning, as well as quantitative aptitude. And there are several books in the market, and there are several players in the market who can train you for giving your CET. So if you look at the graph of the student in the initial phase where he's preparing for CET, is aiming only and only for JBIMS, right? At that point in time, he doesn't really, or she doesn't really know what kind of percentile score is required, or even if he or she is aware, they are quite, I can say, confident of able to achieve it. And when they give the first mock test, that is where reality starts to come into the picture. And then the student believes that as I give more and more mock CETs, my scores will improve. And that is the truth. That in the initial stage, when you start giving multiple mocks, your scores start to improve. They do improve. But it is like, when one starts to diet and do exercise for losing weight, the initial bonus is very, very warming. It's very warm. It's very, very encouraging. However, we soon reach a plateau, and that is what happens with the aptitude test also. See, you need to understand 2-3 things. That in CET aptitude test, when you go, your scores are going to plateau, and you are going to have a very tough time, because CET does not involve, crucial understanding beyond a certain point. CET is going to test you on whether you have the speed to solve the problem. Let me put it in my own conceptual framework. Supposingly, if I increase the time limit of CET exam from 2 hours to 3 hours, your scores can improve drastically, and we can all be into JBIMS or whichever your dream B school will be. What is important to understand is that the whole idea of having a CET exam as a measure of grading the student, I think, is really not a very, very good idea to deal with. Because I, for one, believe that effective and better managers are developed, they can be developed. You need some basic aptitude, but only looking at the aptitude to decide whether the student is eligible for my entrance or for my management program, I think is being very unfair to the student. And in GNIMS, what we do is we take up multiple parameters before deciding whether the student can be inducted into our program. And as we move ahead, Aditi, I think we'll talk about those programs. Right now, Next, the process starts after the reality sets in is that the student starts scouting for college, for the business institutes, and he goes to multiple institutes, right? And he that is where the noise comes into picture, because too many people have too many opinions. There is a social media, and although we say that the students are very very intelligent, they are intelligent because they have access to all sorts of information about business institutes. So today, the job of a educational counselor like me is not to give information, but to teach them how to isolate good information from bad information. And in that entire noise, there is a lot of confusion, and that is a very bad state to be in, because once the student is into that state of confusion, there are many parties that come into the play, and finally that confusion eventually leads to what you can say, uh, confusion leading to desperation, and any decision taken in desperation cannot really be a optimized decision. I think Mayur Lohar, I think you have raised your hand. You would like to ask some question. I think we can have a Q&A after the session, or you want to ask any question, just go ahead, right ahead and shoot. I think Kayuj, some people have raised their hands.
Yes, Mayur, you can speak up.
Yeah, Mayur, you have any questions? Yeah, so I think I've answered from my end. I hope your question is answered. So it starts from a overestimation of your own capabilities to reality checking in. Reality checking in, entering a zone of too much information into a stage of confusion, confusion into a stage of desperation, desperation into a substandard decision. Yeah. So Aditi, I think we should move on.
All right, all right. Sir, objectively, how does one go about choosing a management institute? Or
Oh,
what are the
that's a good.
parameters of a good institute?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was just going to come to that. It's an excellent question. I mean, how do I choose an institute? Okay, so first of all, let us lay down some ground rules. Uh, when we start choosing an institute, let us understand some of the parameters that should be in place. Although I represent GNIMS, I'm not going to talk about GNIMS. I'm still going to keep it open. I'm going to tell you what are the parameters of a good institute. First of all, it should be in existence for at least minimum 15 to 20 years, right? Because what has happened is that due to certain rules and regulations, the number of management institutes went up by leaps and bounds. I'm a finance person, so I'll give you a mathematical reason. See, the number of students wanting to pursue the MMS versus the number of opportunities in the job market have gone up, but they have gone up by arithmetic mean, and the number of institutes went up by geometric mean. As a result of which, what happened when I started out here as a faculty in some 12 years back, 15 years, I'm into this whole management game, and I have been involved in admissions right from the start. There were only two management institutes out here in this vicinity. One was Wellinger, of course, V School, and the next was us, I mean GNMS. Today we have multiple management institutes in this vicinity alone. And what has happened is, because of this demand and supply mismatch that has happened, that suddenly there are too many institutes. And what happens when the supply overpowers the demand? The value goes down, and therefore the value has gone down. Because many fly by night operators have started indulging in multiple malpractices. So you have institutes that will tell you that you don't need to come every day. You can do a job while you are doing your MBA. So yes, you can do your job when you're doing an MBA, provided it's a part-time MBA. See, the main difference, we did a benchmarking exercise some years back. The main difference between the top institutes and institutes which are competitive like us or would like to be in the top five, we are amongst the top 10 definitely. Amongst the top five, we found out that it's institutes like IIM, the amount of time students spend on the campus every day is much higher than the fly-by-night institutes that I mentioned. The fly-by-night institutes will in fact tell you that you don't need to come to college. we can do a full-time course on weekends. Now I am wondering, in my institute, the average time the student spends on the campus, including academics, co-curriculars, research projects, presentations, guest lectures, and there is a lot of activities that we can talk about. He is on the campus around 8 to 10 hours every day, 6 days a week. Sometimes on the 7th day he has to come. See, the whole idea is to replicate the corporate life in the first 2 years, so that the student is ready for the corporates. That is what the corporates demand. And here you are running a full-time course on weekends. So technically you are trying to squeeze in 50 hours in 2 days. Each day has 24 hours. It's a no-go situation. You can immediately understand what they are doing. The first parameter, that it should be in existence for some years. The second parameter is go and talk about the program before talking about the placement. I know the main reason students pursue the course is placement. I wholeheartedly agree with it. But placement is a function of a lot of things. Placement doesn't happen out of air. Placement doesn't happen just because you have paid X money for a management program that you should get a package of X. It is a function of many things which I'll be talking about. But talk about what is the program, what are they offering, how good is the curriculum, how practical is the curriculum. Ask the question. What has happened is, because of 15 years of misdirected education, the student is now very comfortable answering a question. You ask him to design a question. If I just ask all these students, design 5 questions, 10 questions about management program, it's going to take a lot of time, because that's the kind of mental exercise they are not used to. They are used to somebody asking the question. Well, my dear friends, the game has changed. The game has changed drastically. You need to now learn to design the question, because for the answers there is Google. That is how you have to understand management education in a global paradigm. You have to understand how things have changed. Right? Today, earlier getting information was a huge problem. Today, there is too much information. Then how do you separate good information from bad information? Bad information is by asking critical questions. And please understand, to ask questions, you need to have understanding of the concept, much far deeper understanding than the rote learning that you have usually accustomed to. So that is, that how good is the. Now the third parameter is, what besides the curriculum are we offering, right? So for example, I would like to give an example of GNIMS out here, that here we start off with a very strong foundation course where we have an academic foundation. An academic foundation week is where what we have understood is that students from very diverse background come to pursue their management education. And there is a strange, an interesting thing that happens. For example, I'm going to pick up some names out here. So if say there is a Monali out here who has come from a BCom background, she is going to find accounts very easy, but she's going to find operations research very difficult, operations management difficult. A person, for example, if there is say Aditi, who's come from an engineering background, will find operations very easy and accounts to be difficult. Or someone who has done his BSc in IT is going to find some of the subjects difficult. So a very strong academic foundation is in place, whereby students are groomed and trained by conceptual clarity sessions, tutorials, by administering tests, so that depending on the kind of background they come from, they are in a better position to tackle those subjects which they are going to face in the management program. They are going to face that subject to be difficult because of the background, not because of their aptitude, right? So that is an academic foundation. Then we have a corporate foundation week right at the beginning, where you have corporates who have visited us for for the past 3 years, 4 years. Representatives, HR managers of those companies come down, and they will tell you directly. See, sometimes it is very important that the right person conveys the right message. Otherwise, it just seems like a lecture. So when the corporate tells you what kind of skill set are required, what kind of soft skills are required, how to tackle an interview, how to build up your CV, how to make your presence. Now everyone here is on Facebook, I am sure. Ask them how many of them are on Naukri.com and LinkedIn. They are not there. Very few. Are you understanding? So that is the kind of, जिसे हिंदी में संस्कार कहते हैं, that has to be put in right at the beginning. Then we have a soft skills program. So we have observed that one of the things that many of the students lack today is the ability to speak in English. Uh, I mean, not without wanting to sound controversial, there was a quote yesterday by Mr. Narayana Murthy of Infosys, and he said that we should now accept that English should be the official language because it's a language that is spoken in the corporate. It's the language that will get you a job, and therefore it is very, very essential that you have spoken English. And that is why we have multiple agencies with whom we have a tie-up, which will be conducting sessions which are going to be a part of the curriculum that will help you improve your spoken English. Let me give you another USP of GNM is what we have. And before that, let me tell you, see, I'm going to make, some statements, and if you want to debate on the statements, I'm open to it. I know we are, restricted for time, but in case you want to contact me and have a debate, I'm open for it. I'm going to tell you some beautiful facts about the management program. Fact number one, please bear with me and please be ready for it. The academic topper of the institute, of any management institute, is never the placement topper. Please understand what I'm trying to say. I'll repeat it again for everyone. The academic topper of the institute is never the placement topper. In my 15 years with various institutes and 12 years that I'm here, in charge of admissions and as a FIC, which is the HOD of finance, I can tell you this, that nobody flunks an PGDM or nobody flunks an MBA, right? Everybody clears. So my parameter of whether you have flunked or whether you have cleared a management program is simply whether you are able to get a job in the corporate world. If you are able to secure a job at the end of the program, you have passed. If you are not able to secure a job, neither are you able to start off on your own. Then in my books, even if you are the academic topper, you are flunked. And that is why, with that particular intention, we have developed the kind of programs. We spoke about spoken English. We spoke about this very strong foundation course that we have. I'm also going to tell you something, and this is the second thing that might startled you. So please bear with me and please be ready for it. My first statement was the academic topper is never the placement topper. My second statement, as a matter of fact, is that a person who regularly reads business newspaper has a higher probability of securing an above average placement. In case I was very fast, I'll once again repeat that a person who reads a business newspaper regularly has a higher probability of securing a above average placement. And that is what research has shown us. And with that intention, what we have done is we have introduced a subject known as economic times as a subject in PGDM, where there are regular lectures that are held, and students then discuss the business news that comes in economic times or even Mint or a business standard, and whatever that is discussed in the class becomes the curriculum. So the curriculum is not decided, because you will all appreciate the fact that I cannot accurately predict what is going to come in the paper tomorrow in terms of business news. So these are things that the student should look out for. See, you need to understand that the program is extremely unique. I'll give you one more this thing. After the soft skills, we have a very strong mentorship program. A mentorship program is where a corporate mentor and an academic mentor is assigned to the student. And both these are responsible for the weekly progress, for the daily reports of and the progress of the candidate. A academic mentor will help you shape up your strategy. An academic mentor will help you shape up your placement strategy. What exactly is a placement strategy? Right? A placement strategy doesn't mean how you're going to get into the corporate. It is not really as complicated as the word strategy suggests. A good placement strategy basically means developing a clarity as to what kind of a career the student wants for himself, and in the next 2 years what all he should do to prepare himself for that career. So let me just tell you a few things, when it comes to the placement aspect of it. There are many students who come for counseling. I had a student in the morning, and the first question naturally they ask is, what is the package? And then I tell him the average package. And he said, okay, then what are the companies, so on and so forth. And then I told him, so what is it that you want to do after 2 years? What is the kind of job that you're looking for? What is the kind of job profile that you're looking for? What is the kind of placement package that you're looking for? And then the student was really rattled. And then I told him something, and I'm going to just repeat it. I'm going to tell you that. See, Pratiksha here wants a package of 10 lakhs or 12 lakhs. Please be my guest, go for it, develop yourself, and you will get it. You will get it. We have had students who've gotten packages of 10 lakhs and 12 lakhs. We can give you the data. And of course, the data will be shared with you. If there is a student who says that I want to work in a particular company, like I want to work in Reliance, I want to work in L&T, I want to work in HDFC Bank, want to work in Axis Bank, that also is possible. Then the student says that I want to be a research analyst. Please be my guest, it is possible. Then I want to be a brand manager. I want to be a portfolio manager. I want to be a wealth manager. Then I want, all this is possible. You can have the package of your choice, the company of your choice, the profile of your choice, the location of your choice. It is just that it is very difficult to have all these things together. And that is why the student needs to prioritize. So if you come to me and tell me that I want a package, then please be flexible about the company and the job profile. If you are very very sure about the job profile, I had a student who told me that I want to be a research analyst, and I told him that a junior research analyst at an entry level, it depends on where you knock, but the payment is not going to be up, right up there. He said, I'm willing to take the hit for the first few years as long as I get to do what I want to do. He was getting a job in Kotak. This is 4 years back, and he was getting a salary of around 4 to 4.5 lakhs at that point in time. That's a good salary 4 years back. And he took up a job in Sintel for a salary of 2.5 because they were offering him the position of a junior equity analyst. He was very much interested into stock analysis and fundamental analysis and so on. Today, that boy is earning around 15 lakhs after just 4 years. So you can have the profile. I had another student who came to me and said she did her summer internship with Tata Finance. And when she came back, she was a completely changed person. She was very happy. And she told me, sir, I know I want to go into Tata Finance. I said, yeah, but what do you want to do there? It's a whole huge. See, it's one thing being an intern in a huge company, but when you are gunning or, basically focusing on that company for a final placement, you need to be sure. She said, I don't care what my profile is. I don't even care what my pay is. I don't even care where the office is located. I want to be in that company. She got into that company because she had the kind of focus. So that is what is placement strategy is all about. That is what mentorship program is all about. Mentorship program is all about having weekly aptitude test, about tracking your this thing, and also there is a level of trust between the mentor and the mentee, and any information that is between them is extremely confidential. The mentor will not, shall not, never ever discuss if anything you have shared with him or her, any personal or any professional thing that you might have. So these are the things that make what are the add-ons. We once again came to what are the add-ons: a strong foundation, economic times, regular aptitude test, a strong mentorship program. Let us move on to another of our USPs, which I'm extremely proud about, which has technically taken a back seat for no fault of ours. So right from the past 3 years, we have had MOUs and academic relationships with 17 universities in UK and Europe, also in the US, but mostly in UK and Europe. And the Indian counterparts of these universities, I'm going to just take two examples which are very recent. Teesside University, UK, and Aarhus University, Denmark. These are amongst the top 100, 150 universities in the world. So representatives of these universities visit us, and the student has to prepare a research project or an innovative product or an innovative service or a business plan in consultation with your mentor and the FIC of the concerned department where your product or service fits into. And when there's Indian counterparts or even representatives of Teesside and Aarhus, they come over to GNIMS, and you have to give a detailed presentation to these people, and it has to be unique. It has to be first cleared by us. We have a innovation and entrepreneurship cell in Khalsa and GNIMS, and that is where the incubation happens. To give you, let me give you an example. So one of our students came up with an idea, not even the service product or the technicalities, वो तो दूर की बात है. He just came up with an idea that supposingly say Agnes here is going to MG Road in Bangalore. The app will tell you the place where you can find the parking. Now in India, it seems like a big thing, right, Aditi? But out there in the Europe, it is possible. So they picked up that idea. And once he was selected, the entire group then spent 2 months in Teesside University, UK, where they did their summer internship, which is a very crucial part of the PGDM program. For 2 months, they were there, right? And the product, whole app was the whole idea was developed by the faculties of Teesside University in consultation with technical experts and corporates of UK, and it became an actual prototype. So you get to spend 2 months over there. At the end of 2 months, you get a certificate of participation. And the whole, if you are selected, the whole program is extremely subsidized. I'll tell you actual numbers, I don't mind. Around 45 to 50 days in Teesside University, UK, to and fro, airfare plus visa, plus accommodation, plus food, plus tuition fees, plus development fees, plus guest lectures, and a little bit of sightseeing thrown in. All this will cost you not more than 2 to 2.25 lakhs. Now, if you look at it on per day basis and you look at the CV, how it will look after the student comes back, it's a whole new world. You have opened, see, whom are you sitting with? You're sitting with a European student, you're sitting with perhaps a Chinese student, you're sitting with the diversity in itself, the opportunity to intermingle with all this. It can really open doors. Many of the students have used that opportunity to permanently settle in US, UK, and even Canada, right? And it has been a good training ground for them. We are extremely proud of that particular. So as I told you, Aditi, these are the USPs. I can just keep talking about it, right? What do we expect? We expect that after 2 years, when the student looks back at his journey with GNIMS, he should look at it with pride. And I mean, to be very frank, the only reason that really keeps me going is that I can see the difference in the student from the time that they enter, because now we are recording everything. So from the time that the student gives an interview to the time that he actually graduates and he comes up with the good news that he's finally got his job, nothing can be more satisfying than that. Yeah, at this stage, any questions for anyone? I mean, you just have to raise your hands or just speak up. So the parameters I told you, look at how old the institute is. It should not be a fly-by-night operator. Look at what is the add-ons. What are the faculty like? See, the faculty out here in JNIMS or any institute should have corporate experience as well as a good research experience. It has to be a good mix. If there is only research, then I think that practicality and dunyadari goes out of the window. A person who has around 10, 15 years of experience in the corporate world has an edge as a business teacher. I've always believed that. Uh, You look at the infrastructure because you need that infrastructure. Uh, we have institutes where on the ground floor there is KG and on the sixth floor there is PG. That cannot be. Here at GNMS, we are all 7 floors totally dedicated to management program. We have the state-of-the-art classrooms, smart classrooms with OHPs and even hybrid classrooms where the one student is sitting in the class and at the same time the lecture can be streamed live to a student who is sitting, for example, in Jaipur. We have 3 auditoriums. We have state-of-the-art canteen. We have one of the biggest management libraries in Mumbai, one we are particularly proud of, and you can see the videos. I'm sure the videos will reach you after this webinar. And we are located in the heart of Mumbai. We are in Matunga. We are close to the harbor station GTB or Wadala, if you wish. We are close to Matunga Central. We are also close to Dadar West. So the infrastructure also counts particularly because you will be spending a lot of time in the campus. So connectivity is very important in today's day and age. I'm extremely we are sensitive and conscious about the fact. We besides this, now we come to the placement part of it. So placements may the question that is asked is wrong. Usually Aditi they ask me what is the average placement. If you the average कहाँ से आया, किसी को कम मिला किसी को ज्यादा मिला, वहां से एवरेज आया. तो आप अगर एवरेज को टारगेट कर रहे हैं तो अपने आप नीचे आ रहे हैं. आप टारगेट टॉप को करो तो फिर आपको एवरेज मिलेगा. Classic English saying, you aim for the moon so that you settle down on the stars, right? So when you are asking, rather than asking the placement package, because that is misleading, ask what are the companies and what are the job profiles that are offered by these companies. How many companies visited your campus? All those fly-by-night operators, they have to approach the company. Here at GNMS, in the past many years, we have a very robust, very robust CDC. We call it the CDC. This is the Career Development Cell. Not only the placement cell, because it not only facilitates placement, it conducts a lot of other activities which make the student ready for placement, right? And we have around 120 or 130 companies that have visited us this year, okay? And multiple chances have been given to a student. We just don't do something like, after you've given 3 interviews, you're not able to clear, so in my book you are placed. That is what some institutes follow. We don't do that. We go ahead, we give him one chance, one more chance, and also it's a two-way process. If a student is not getting placed after 4 or 5 interviews, there is some introspection that the student needs to do with his mentor, right? See, placement is going to happen. If the student has his placement strategy in place, if there are companies coming, it is going to happen. What you are going to do in the, see, for example, let me give you a very frank, if my dream company is HDFC Bank, then HDFC Bank cannot be my first interview. अगर आप इंडिया 11 के लिए खेलने का ड्रीम रखते हैं तो इंडिया 11 ये अपनी पहली मैच नहीं हो सकती ना. आपकी पहली मैच होती है कॉलेज में, दूसरी मैच होती है कांगा लीग में, तीसरी मैच होती है रणजी में, फिर आप स्टेट के लिए खेलते हैं, फिर आप नेशनल्स के लिए सिलेक्ट होते हैं. इट्स अ प्रोसेस. So how do you, mock interviews are one this thing, but when you give your interview for your summer internship, when you give your interview for your final internship, when you give your interviews, you should give your interviews, because once you get into the groove, the initial anxiety comes down, and that is how you prepare yourself. So these are the USPs. You look at the parameter. You don't look at the institute. You look at the parameters, and then you choose an institute which has those parameters. In my case, I mean, at the sound of at the cost of sounding slightly pompous, we at GNMS we have all these USPs, and there are documents and other visual representations which we'll be sharing with the students. It gets an idea about what is it to be a MMS student or a PGDM student at GNMS. Yeah.
All right. That's really great that you also spoke about the placements along with this.
Yeah.
So,
very conscious.
but before we move on to another question, I would specifically like to welcome Dr. D.Y. Patil sir, who has just joined us. He's the Group
Yeah.
Director,
I saw him
GNIMS.
in a minute.
Along with
Welcome, sir.
along with him, the Dr. Hiran Yadav, Professor Marketing Management and Director, GNIMS B School. Thanks for joining us, both of you. Um, yes. So, sir, what's the difference between a PGDM and an MBA or MMS degree?
Most
Tell us that.
frequently asked question, tops all the list. What is the difference between PGDM and MBA? Then what is MMS and so on and so on. So technically, we need to understand one thing at the outset, that there is no such course with the nomenclature of MBA. Right? There is no such course in India. There is the PGDM, which is known as the MBA. And there is the MMS course, which is the Masters in Management course of Mumbai University. The PGDM uh, is known as an MBA because it has a huge amount of applied component. Right? When I say it is a huge amount of applied component, what do I mean by that? You tell me. An applied component means that we are more concerned with the practical application of the concept, and that practical application cannot be done in the classroom. There has to be a practical approach to things in terms of activities, in terms of projects, in terms of presentations, in terms of field work, in terms of short-term internships, winter internships, summer internships. All that makes a PGDM. All the USPs that we discussed are a part of the PGDM program. PGDM is a result of a refined curriculum. PGDM is a result of corporate interface. We go to the corporate, we ask them, no, I need to place Anusha over here. What all skill set should Anusha possess in order to get her dream job? We collect that data and then we design the curriculum incorporating the input from the corporate. We administer it to the student, and thus then we tell the corporate that, look, all the skill set that you mentioned, the student has done this, student has done that. The student is also taught to market himself. So the first assignment that the student gets is to prepare a 3-minute video of, or a 10 minutes video of herself, face the camera and generally communicate the traits of her personalities, her likes and dislikes, her aspirations. And we do it every 6 months, and we see, we show it to her. Look, this was how you were the first time. This is the kind of improvement that is there in the second. Now you need to improve on these points. It's a very interactive game, this management, this thing. So that is the difference between the PGDM and, first of all, there is no MBA, right? And there is only PGDM and MMS. Let me just tackle one more question. I don't know whether it's in your book or not. That sir, what will happen if I get a PGDM? Will I get a job with a lesser package? Let me tell you at the outset, the corporate does not have a bias. The corporate does not distinguish between a PGDM and an MMS candidate. Please understand. For him, the candidate matters. ऐसा नहीं होगा that there is a student who has done his PGDM and a student who has done his MMS. The recruiter is the same, and just because your student has done his PGDM, he'll be offered a lower salary, and if the student has done MMS, he'll be offered a higher salary. That can never happen. Sometimes the ulta can happen. That the student has done his PGDM, because of the flexibility, because of the research project, because of the practical this thing, he might be offered a higher salary. But let me tell you at the outset, the very least, the corporate doesn't have any bias. So be rest assured. Yeah.
All right.
You have any more questions? Go ahead.
I do, just a few.
Sure.
Could you guide us in the process involved in securing a seat in this college now for this program?
Now first is the eligibility criteria.
Yeah.
And here again, the eligibility mandates that the student should have more than 50% in any graduation from a recognized university. So that is one part of it. If you're a SC/ST candidate, it comes down to 45%. The second thing is that it is mandatory for you to have given an aptitude test. Now, let us look at the CET game. The CET was supposed to be
held in January, it got postponed to February, then it got postponed to May, then it got postponed to June, and then it got postponed to July, and now we know everything that will happen in August. What has happened because of this, that is that the student has entered the confusion state, which I was talking, which when I was answering your first question, Aditi, that the confusion state has started because he is not sure when this aptitude test is going to happen. In fact, if we keep waiting for the aptitude test and the subsequent results and everything, it is going to be a huge loss for the students. See, ultimately you need to understand that the recruitment cycle is not going to change 2 years forward. 2 साल के बाद we have to complete the program at a specific time so that the recruitment season and everything, the student is ready. So if we wait for the student to give the registered exam, the student is going to be at loss. What we have done in GNIMS this year is we have our own process. So process number one is the counseling, that counseling round where the student is given information about the course. The student is motivated to ask questions about the course. That is step one. It is followed by a GDPI round where there is a group discussion, and then there is personal interviews, in fact series of interviews, multiple interviews, right? The student is also given some grooming for the interview by the coordinator itself. Aditi, I think you at GNIMS, you do that, basically giving them tips about how to appear for GD, how to appear for PI and all that. And then we shortlist the student. And once the student is shortlisted, then, now we come to the fees aspect of it. The PGDM fees for GNIMS for 2 years is around 6 lakhs. So the student then has to pay a token amount to secure the seat, right? And this is the process. Now, after that, there are many students who have not registered for any entrance test because, for various reasons. Maybe they decided at a later date to pursue their management program, and maybe for X, Y, Z reasons they did it. But the good news is that there is an exam called the ATMA, which is the preferred examination for the PGDM. And there is going to be one more ATMA in the month of August. Here I want to really appreciate the efforts taken by our director, Dr. D.Y. Patil sir, because he happens to be the chairman of the ATMA. So that has given us a edge, because, normally the ATMA is already done. We had an ATMA on 25th July. So in case you students have not given any entrance test, then now is the right time, because first we will be having a GDPI round, the shortlisting round, the offer letter, the payment of the fee, and the securing of the seat. And then we start preparing you for that ATMA exam simultaneously, because as I rightly said, if you wait for the ATMA exam and for you to get, you're wasting a lot of time. We need that head start when we are talking about the foundation course. You need to have that head start so that we can actually go and focus on the student, right? So that is in brief the process. Just a few things with respect to the fees aspect of it. See, we have multiple tie-ups with multiple banks: State Bank of India, Punjab National Bank, Punjab Maharashtra, State Bank of India, Saraswat Bank, and many other banks, where you can get a student loan. If you take up a student loan, you don't have to pay anything for the first 2 years, and thereafter you get a job. 6 months later, you have to start paying the EMI. So you have a good moratorium. I always, even if there are many parents who visit me for counseling, and parents who are perfectly capable of paying the fee, even them, I encourage them that let the student take the loan, right? Because once you student takes up the loan, his whole mindset changes. He has that competition. There is that little pressure which is sometimes very essential. He knows that he needs to follow the rules. He needs to take up that placement. He needs to give that interview. Makes him a little more flexible, and that really works wonders, not only for him but for the institute and for his family as well. But say suppose for some reasons the student doesn't want to pay any interest, but he has some issues with the fees. So we have a very flexible installment system out here, where the installment is interest free. You don't have to pay us one naya paisa, right? But you can pay by post dated checks, and our coordinators will get in touch with you when you are shortlisted, so that you can choose any method. You can choose to pay the fees directly, you can choose to take a loan, or you can choose to avail interest free installments. all systems are in place. So that is the process in brief of getting into a PGDM program.
All right. I don't think you've left anything out. You've also given us the highlights of PGDM. I would now like to open it up to the students
Sure.
present here. So if you guys have anything to ask Bopatkar sir, you can just shoot. Monali, Sharon, Pratiksha, Deepan, Andrew, Anusha,
Yeah,
anything,
please go ahead.
anything at all. I
Yeah.
think, sir, you answered everything. They
So,
seem satisfied.
yeah, thank you. Very pleased to meet all of you, and you'll be shortly my coordinators and the associates will get in touch with you, and hope to see you. I wish you all the best. My email address and everything will be given to you. So, in case you want to contact me personally via email or via WhatsApp, you can just contact me anytime you want. Send me an email or send me a WhatsApp so that I can respond. It was a pleasure talking to you guys, and I wish you all the best. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you all. Thanks a lot.